Hi there, everybody. Hugh here. Good to see you again. I tell you, it's mighty cold here in southern Illinois, single digits, and I'm in a very poorly insulated place with a tiny little space heater. So it probably increases the degrees by about 5 or 6. So a little frosty, but I wanted to talk to you here a little bit. A while back, I made a video about writing in prison, and I did a lot of writing in prison, a lot of prose writing. I did write some songs, but I didn't have easy access to a guitar or anything, so I really just kind of focused on lyrics and some prose writing, which I hadn't done a whole lot of. And so I took the opportunity to do that, and I wrote, about um, the experience. Oh, I've got a very cold cat out here too. She's really uh, resisting going back into the warm cat house. That is definitely in here that keeps her warm. She just is getting a little bored, I'm afraid. So anyhow, um, so I did a lot of writing, and I wrote about the atmosphere and people and some of the doings. And you got to be a little bit not quite out in the open and doing that. And from the commissary, you get these little phone address books about tiny pocket-sized things for phone numbers and stuff. But I used them and I wrote prose and every little parts of the pages and around the corners and everything. And I bought many of them. They were cheap to get, and so um, I wrote, and then I would go into the library and when I could tell, nobody was really around, I would type these things up. And, so I was in the library a lot typing, and so much that a lot of people thought I was a lawyer, and they would ask me legal questions and sometimes get me to type up letters for them and all. And I would do that, but it's like, I'm not a lawyer, but I'll type a letter that you're trying to send to somebody. But anyhow, I did write about some folks, and I changed names. I didn't. Nothing in this piece that I'm going to read for you here is anybody's real name, including my own. And so when I was writing this, I wrote as myself as Benjamin Hughes. And so early on, I uh, went under the name Benjamin Hughes and some online doings to test the waters. Nothing really happened with that. Nothing happened until I used my own real name. Nobody paid any attention, and so, um, uh, but I used my name, Benjamin Hughes, in writing about myself and my interactions with other people. But their names are also changed. So this piece hasn't been touched really since like 2011, when I did some writing that I revised a bit on since I got out over the years. But this is a piece that I was just looking over it a few minutes ago, and it's been untouched since then. So here we go. This is called Prison Pizza. Bang! Down went the gavel, and I asked her. I said, "Your Honor, how am I supposed to do 20 years in prison?" Cold as ice, she goes, "Follow that marshal there. He'll show you." Noah Jennings had the bitter passion of a man sentenced yesterday. I had some real winners working for me. Handful of dirt bags with hardly a set of teeth between 'em. I had trucks on the road 24/7. Sure, I made some enemies along the way, but I always had a soft spot for folks and their hard luck, so I'd give a guy a job. Friend of a friend. Favors for a cousin or a brother-in-law, whoever the fuck. Noah took off his glasses and looked me straight in the eye as he told his story. Didn't blink while he spoke. I blinked enough for us both. So to make a long story short, one of the dirt bags was using my truck to haul a shit ton of dope, and I said, I made some enemies. Somebody set me up. You can believe that. The truck was in my name. It was my truck. The shitheel behind the wheel goes to saving his own ass, blowing his guts. Bunch of bullshit. Wide eyed and getting loud, Noah threw his hands around, but finally stopped long enough to catch his breath. Well, did you try to fight it? Did you go to trial? You bet your boots I went to trial, buddy. Dirtbag employees testified against me. I tell you what, I've been over backwards for them backstabbing bastards. My wife, my ex-wife, rather. Your wife testified against you? I didn't think. No, but she might as well have. She was banging the driver behind my back, and a little bird told me she tipped off the cops. The trial bankrupted me as far as they could tell, so she didn't get nothing in the divorce. Dirty, evil woman. Just like the song Evil Woman. I almost felt bad for bringing it up, but Noah seemed eager to tell it. Somehow, folks seemed to like to tell me their tales. I guess I was pretty good at listening to them. Were you ever offered a plea bargain? Oh, yeah, sat in county over a year, and they offered all kinds of deals. I exercised my right to a rigged trial and a raw deal. The feds don't like to lose. You know that, don't you? They took 20 years of my life for something I didn't do. I'm a lesson to the others. Unlike a lot of other convicts, Noah wasn't covered in tattoos and didn't keep his head shaved. He loathed the federal government and definitely distrusted the health services. I wouldn't let these clowns cut my toenails. There's a reason they work in here and not on real people. His disdain was at least equal for the kitchen and the food served. It's not that I don't know what it is or where it came from. That's the problem. I do know where and when it came from. Yeah, some of it's old, but it's stayed frozen. Ben, some of that meat's 10 years old. Those pork chops they served the other night, the swine didn't die in this millennium. Tastes like they died of disease or old age, too. Might have caught the flu. I'm sorry, kitty. I know. It's going to be okay. All right. He was full of fascinating contradictions. I had a subscription to a few magazines and passed along my Rolling Stones to him when I finished reading them. I tend more to the right politically, Ben. I listen to a lot of talk radio, but I wander left of the dial sometimes and tune in NPR. I used to take Rolling Stone myself. I like the music, you know. Rock and roll was the best thing the liberals ever contributed. What do you have on the other end? I mean, really, only so much Lee Greenwood a man can handle. And public radio ain't any more biased than the CBS Evening News or any of the major networks. You know what CBS stands for, don't you? Columbia Communist Broadcasting Station. NBC? Oh, it's now broadcasting communism. How about ABC? Always broadcasting communism. So you prefer your news fair and balanced, I take it. That's right. Full of xenophobia. Ha ha. Everybody seemed to know and like Noah. He'd been through several other institutions before getting to the camp a few years ago. I started out in Terre Haute at the USP. That place was rockin' some days. Boy, howdy, carving each other up like hot dogs. Transferred to Greenville. I was there for the crack riots in '95. Tore that fucker up. Down at Texarkana at the Low, several years. Lot of Montana freemen down there, and they put every one of them boys in the hole on 9/11. They didn't know what was breaking off when those planes hit. They locked them up for a while. Been here at Lincolnwood Camp 5 years now. So I had also changed Leavenworth to Lincolnwood. That was a change I did in writing this novel that never really came about. Just a few months short now. What a long, strange trip it's been, let me tell you. He shared all this with me one evening while making a pizza. The crust was made out of tortilla shells, and he laid them out on a piece of cardboard that I swiped from the garbage outside the kitchen. The wall clock in the dorm unit was the perfect size to trace a circle on the cardboard that he cut out with his grooming scissors. You have to soak the shells to make them stick together. He dipped each tortilla shell into scalding hot water in his plastic bowl, too small to immerse them entirely, so he held the edges and spun them around until they were thoroughly drenched. They formed a perfectly round crust in a circle on the cardboard. He rolled the edges so they didn't hang over the rim. He poured olive oil all over the top and gently flipped the entire crust upside down, coating the other side, so it doesn't stick to the cardboard. You nuke the crust for 6 minutes. An inmate from another unit came over to our table, carrying a stack of papers. Noah was expecting him. "What's up, man?" "Hey, Noah, I wanted to show you this. See what you thought." Noah took the papers, and both of them started whispering. I walked a few feet away to give them some privacy. Lots of guys came to see him about their various legal issues. Some were frivolous, but most were not. Inadequate medical care meant untreated diseases and sometimes death, needlessly. Some prisoners had to stay longer because the case managers messed up their paperwork or held some sort of grudge. The administrative remedy process was used to keep our authorities in check, and Noah learned it pretty well. Over the years, he schooled himself enough to become a jailhouse lawyer, filing paperwork on guards, counselors, case managers, and even the warden. The staff at all prisons hate and fear men like Noah Jennings. He also knew enough to know when he was outmatched. 1 second. So you'll have to get a lawyer on the outside to hook that up for you. It won't be cheap, but I know a guy down there who can do it, and he's good. Real good. But that's about your only option. That's what I thought. I'll see what I can come up with. I'll see what I can come up with. Thanks, Noah. The inmate left our unit, and Noah took his crust down to the microwave. About 6 minutes later, he came back. Now the sauce, spices, the cheese, then the sausage. "Hey, you're in veg prep. You got an onion, green pepper?" "Sorry, I sure don't." Noah shook his head. "I guess I need to have a little talk with Manuel. He's going to have to teach you how to hustle, sonny." He spread the pizza sauce on his crust and shredded some garlic cheese all over it, using a shredder made out of scrap metal with holes drilled in it from the welding shop. He used a tool with a sharp edge to slice the summer sausage into thin pieces and laid them onto the thick nest of cheese. The finished product looked like a work of art. "Impressive," I said. "I've been doing this a while now. Sometime bring me some apples out of the kitchen. I'll make us my famous apple pie. My special recipe. Crust is killer." He winked. Noah could bring out chilling qualities in almost anything, even an apple pie. A complex character with a sordid past that he revealed in sinister snippets. "I had a problem with state charges a few years back. My brother and I had been drinking together. I shot him in the leg." "Oh, shit. By accident?" "No." He didn't elaborate. I didn't ask. "And I won't lie, there were consequences. But it just goes to show the hypocrisy of our government. I guess, it was okay what I was doing back in '67, running around the jungle with an M16, slaughtering women and children, burning villages." "You were in the military? During the Vietnam War?" "No." That's a piece I wrote back in 2011 there around some of the people I was around. There were some characters. But uh, it's an interesting, to be around people maybe of totally different backgrounds, different upbringings, and with different political perspectives about things. There's a group of us that watch the news each night, and kind of analyze what was going on. Definite conservatives, definite. I mean, I kind of represented the more the left of center uh, branch there, but still respect people. We all wear the same clothes, we eat the same food, we're stuck in the same place. Those kind of positions take a kind of a different or a lack of meaning in an environment like that. We had no effect on the outside world. What are we going to do? Hold on to our, political parties, or, you know, no matter what happened, we're all stuck in the same position. And so that's always kind of, stuck with me a little bit, with and it's followed me to this day as far as being able to get along with people, of any sort. And you know, um, I guess that's been a helpful, hopefully. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. Perhaps I'll do a little bit more if this seems kind of interesting. A little slice of life of just a wild time in my life. But I hope this is interesting, and that's a real pizza recipe, that you can use. And so I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.